This is Rob Tubber for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined by Sam Jones. We're here at the Dubois-Gorman Joyce-Jennings press conference here in London. How you doing, Sam?
Great, thanks. How are you doing, mate?
Not bad, thanks. Not bad. Always a good start to any interview. Talk to me about the fight. Joe Joyce against former world title challenger and Bryan Jennings.
Yeah, it's a fight we're really looking forward to. It's Joe's prepared. I know everyone says the camps have gone really well, but this is possibly one of the best camps I've ever seen. Well, probably the best camp we've had so far. Joe's in a really good place, and he's looking forward to putting on a real statement on Saturday.
Now, you mentioned that we're obviously still very early in his relationship with Adam Booth. Talk to me a little bit about the differences between Abel Sanchez and Adam Booth for Joe.
I think every trainer's got their different methods, haven't they? I just think Adam adds that ingredient for Joe that's going to bring out the best in him. But that's not to disregard what Abel's done or Ismail Salas. Like it's all come together for this point, and I think Adam Booth has provided what Joe needs right at the right time as well.
How so?
Just working on the aspects of his game that, listen, no one's the perfect fighter, so working on the aspects of his game that needed improvement. Like we all know what Joe brings, relentless pressure, but it's like thinking more about what he's doing, and I think you're all going to see that style implemented on Saturday.
This is now the third trainer he's had in his professional career. Can we realistically expect to see him kind of bed in with Adam Booth? I know we could never kind of predict the future, especially in boxing.
100%. You're going to see the improvements that Joe's made. And look, everyone can say whatever they like. Bryan Jennings is a world level fighter. He really has. He's mixed it at the highest level. And Joe, when Joe beats him, it's a statement in my opinion.
This the most difficult test of his career?
100%, yeah, 100%. I would be like kidding myself if not. He's fought some very good names, but Jennings is 34 years old, 33, 34 years old, still the prime of his career. So Joe's got to be at his absolute best to beat him, and if he's not, Jennings would win the fight.
Talk to us about the main event. A few months back, it was Dubois versus Joyce, and then they've all kind of been interlinked really together. What do you make of the main event?
It's a very, very good main event domestically. It's a very, very big fight. But on the world scale, Joe Joyce against Bryan Jennings is the bigger fight. That's an absolute fact on the world scene. But look, it's a great domestic fight. Two young lads putting it on the line very early. Credit to both guys.
Would the winner of that fight be a realistic proposition for Joe?
But we say this, but like, of course, everything's a possibility, but why? Joe's fighting Bryan Jennings, do you know what I mean? This is a world-level fight. That's a domestic fight. Why are we going to come back down? Listen, money talks in this game. If the money's right, then it's a fight we'll consider. But other than that, if not, we're going to be pursuing the World Heavyweight Championship, which is what Joe's in boxing for.
You mentioned that kind of pursuing the World Heavyweight title. It looks like all of the belts are kind of spoken for at the minute, but as you mentioned, fragmented and particularly after whatever happens with Joshua and Ruiz. Do you think Joe's best opportunity at a world title will be fighting for a vacant belt potentially? 100%.
That's probably what's going to happen. Like it looks as though because after Ruiz, Joshua, there's going to be mandatories. There's going to be immediate mandatories, and the belts are going to become fragmented. So Joe's going to have a pop at one of them. We hope.
What do you make of that rematch, if and when it takes place?
I don't know. You asked me this before. I don't. I think in an ideal situation, Josh would probably have another bout before that, as a get your confidence back. But Josh was in a position where he's got to take the fight. Otherwise, he's not going to go back to be a contender. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to want to go and fight the winner of David Price, David Allen. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's the only fight for him right now. But I think if Joshua can, people wouldn't have been saying anything if Joshua would have flattened him in 3 rounds, like what he was doing. Like he dropped Ruiz and he looked good, didn't he, for the first 3 rounds? So Joshua just needs to impose a bit of a different style, a bit more. Just even if he makes the fight boring, just go out there and get the win. That's all that matters, because his career's on the line, in my opinion, in that fight.
And just finally, somebody you know very well, having shared various camps with him, with Joe and Guido Vianello, Tyson Fury's been making headlines in the last few days with Whyte. What do you make of all of that?
With who? Tyson Fury? It's just talk, isn't it? It's backwards and forwards talk. I think that Tyson and Dylan, they're on different. Whether the fight's going to happen, but they're both. It's a hard fight to make, isn't it? It's a Tyson's fighting solely in America, so is the fight going to happen? I don't think so. But would I like to see it? Yes, I think everyone would like to see that fight.
Dillian Whyte's fighting somebody who you'll be, I'm sure, very familiar with, Oscar Rivas, who, I mean, had a very, very close fight with Bryan Jennings until the stoppage. What do you make of Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas?
It's a hard fight, look, but Jennings was beating Rivas in that fight quite handily from what I was watching. So But he's a good fighter, Rivas. He's proved he's a 12-round solid fighter. Dylan Whyte's not always looked the best against people like his own, like with his similar dimensions to him, like similar size, like the Chisora fight. But look, Dylan Whyte's on a great run of form, so I do give him the slight edge in that fight.
Mentioned Derek Chisora, he's also back on that card against Arthur Szpilka. Providing he comes through that, it's a fight that's been talked about for a long time between Joe and Derek.
Derek don't, like I say, massive credit to Derek. He's been a great ambassador for British boxing. He's done very good things. He just doesn't want to fight Joe. I don't think whatever happens in that fight, he just won't fight Joe. But look, good luck to him against Szpilka, which is again potential banana skin for him because southpaw. It's a hard fight for him. Szpilka, in my opinion. I think that could go either way.
Okay, and just finally before I let you go, what's your final prediction? Joe Joyce versus Bryan Jennings. I'm sure you're going to be backing Joe. How does he win?
Joe by knockout. Stoppage.
Okay, well, Sam Jones, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers, appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. Nice one.